Kinser in the Valvoline number 11. Started out slow, but came on strong, winning rounds 5 and 6. Swindell countered with a checkered flag in round 7. Not to be outdone, Kinser smoked the field to win round number 8. 3 wins apiece, and only 2 points between them.
It's going to come down to today seeing who has the lucky breaks and who can maintain and stay out of trouble at the same time. This thing is such a little bull ring, though. I think it's going to be a real exciting racetrack today. It's going to be who's luckiest today. So, I mean, whoever definitely has the luck on their side today is going to win the championship.
First of all, you got to make sure you get to the checker to start with, and you know, it's just a race. Whoever wins the race today is going to win.
2 great drivers, but only one can win the most prestigious title in winter sprint car racing. Today, live, the final race to decide the champion of the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. TNN Motorsports, the We Don't Care Who Goes to the Super Bowl, We're Going Racing Network, proudly presents the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. We are live at Canyon Raceway outside Phoenix, Arizona. Sell-out crowds, standing room only today to see the final round in our winter series for 1994. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy with Brad Doty and Dick Berger, the editor of Open Wheel magazine. And you can see their Ford push trucks. They and their drivers have done a great job for us all series long. They're pushing them off for qualifying heat number 1. Cloudy skies today. Warm but not oppressive. It's about 70 degrees or so. There's a look at our Ford push truck squadron. What kind of racing are we going to see today?
Wild racing, Mike, for sure. We've already had one flip here in the practice session just a few minutes ago. Andy Hillenberg took his car end over end between turns 2 and 3. Rough stuff here this afternoon. Here's Hillenberg in the deuce. He had 2 quick times before this.
This was less than an hour ago.
Boom, hooked the rut, and then he lost his steering. And when he lost his steering, it was all over, baby. But they repaired this car, believe it or not, and Hillenberg is going to start again.
Yeah, I was over there when they brought the car back to the trailer, and what he thinks happened is he stripped the pitman arm when he hit that rut, and it hit so hard on the front. I was sitting in the car and looked over and saw the frame crack. They welded it up. They put this thing back together. I told him the steering box needs checked. I thought they stripped the pitman arm. I don't know if they had time to change it or not.
Well, we'll find out as we get set for this first qualifying round. As you can see, Jeff Swindell and Steve Kinser with 3 wins apiece are separated by only 2 points. Freddie Raymer's been to victory lane. Dave Blaney in the Ford. Mark Kinser, that's your top 5. Then it's Sammy Swindell, defending champ. Johnny Herrera, Stevie Smith, Brett KAEDING, and Danny Lasowski, the top 10. Qualifying heat number 1 is already on the speedway. Here is your starting lineup. Andy Hillenberg and Jeff Swindell. Up front, Marlon Jones and Danny Lasowski in row 2.
Second row, third row inside, Dave Blaney. Keith Kauffman's outside him. He had a good qualifying run. Raymer and Sammy Swindell in row 4.
On the 5th row, Ryan Jamison inside. Outside of him, Brent Antill. Row 6, Todd Ventura. Outside of him, Alan Munn.
Back in the 7th row, Jason Lund and the Californian Steve Kent. Then Brett KAEDING and Wayne Johnson in the 78 car.
And in row 9 on the inside, recent college graduate Sid Blandford, Greg DECAIRES, Bobby Markham, local driver, and Chris Eichardt.
Row 11, Jared Hall. Outside of him, Jeff Slinkard. Row 12, Gordon Rogers. Coming up the back, Bob Kinser.
That's your Slick 50 starting lineup for round 1. You'll be riding with Jeff Swindell as he tries to capture the championship and become one of the 12 transferees in this first of 2 qualifying rounds.
And he's starting on the front row for the 6th time. Now, the way they do this thing, they take the top 12 time trialers from the night before, and they invert them in such a way that positions number 9, 10, 11, and 12 start in the front row of the qualifying races. Incredibly, Jeff Swindell has managed 9th 4 times. He has managed 11th twice. Nobody else is even close, Brad.
You know, and he's been extremely lucky on this thing. You know, it doesn't matter what the lap times are. He finishes up there and gets in the front.
Well, who's pushing who? There's our Ford push truck commando squadron. Those guys have done a great job for us all series long.
Yeah, with direct drive cars, they've all got to be push started, and these folks have come out. They've done a good job in getting everybody going, off racing quickly.
Doug Clark on the flag stand, getting set to wave him off for the final time this winter.
Everybody wants to win this last one.
And nobody wants to go home where it's as cold as it is. Doug lives in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's been 10 below, 20 below there. We really enjoyed these Phoenix races.
Let's just hope everybody doesn't want to win it on the very first lap.
Now there's Alan Munn, car number 42. He is one of 3 drivers who's never qualified for one of these feature events, but he's been here for every one of these races. Gus Wasson has also been in that situation. Dan Oswald, you're looking for an underdog to cheer for. Pick number 42, Alan Munn. See if he can make it today.
He's got a good starting spot, too.
The driver told me this morning, he said, this is a little like going to Knoxville, except there are so many cars. Here there are less cars, but they're all good ones. It's a tough show to make.
And Freddie Raymer is one of 7 drivers who has made every single one of these feature events. Look at the field, taking the green flag.
And he gets a jump.
3 wide in the second row, though, as they come across. You're right. Good jump by Hillenburg.
It's kind of early to tell. Andy's car looks good right now, but you know they're uncertain of what that thing's going to do. They had to just throw it back together and probably didn't have time to work on the setup. He looks great right now.
In turn 3, the 24 car goes around. That's Chris Eichert out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. The Eichert Furniture Tire Center Plus machine. Really completed the lap.
Hillenburg has shown absolutely no hesitation, no concern about putting his foot right flat on the floor with that thing, and the car was severely damaged. Here's Eichert, stalled in the back straightaway. They'll push him off. He can get started again more likely than not.
Let's show you what happened in qualifying here last night. We were talking about the top 12 procedure and how they invert. Keith KAUFFMAN was the first legal qualifier. Randy Hannigan, illegal fuel, got tossed down to 12. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Look at Randy Tyner. 1/100th of a second faster than Freddie Raymer, so Tyner gets the front row in his heat, and Raymer has to start way back, along with the rest of this field.
And the officials say they found nitro in Hannigan's fuel. He has not given up, however. He went through the non-qualifiers race last night, the last chance race, and he's going to be out racing with us trying to make the A main this afternoon. And by the way, he said no nitro. He didn't have any nitro at all.
But the gauge said he did, right?
That's it.
Dave Blaney in the KC Luna of Iveron Ford. 4th in points.
One of the most consistent drivers here. He had to go all the way to week 7 before he had a week where he wasn't in the top 10. That was 12th in week number 7.
Had a lot of success in last year's series. Not quite so much this season.
He sure did. He won 2 of them last year. He also won 2 pole positions, but he's got 2 quick times this year. No feature wins. Today's the last chance to do that.
They ran the Gold Eagle Skins Challenge last night here. We'll have a tape of that for you in today's show.
Jeff Swindell in that number 7 is driving with a new engine. He had to change the engine after that Gold Eagle race last evening. Put a different engine in it today, so a lot on the line with a new situation for Jeff Swindell.
20 laps, 12 cars, half the field will qualify. We're under green. Again, Hillenburg goes right to the top, crossing over. Swindell in a big tumble. Alan Munn is in it. Gary MAIER. There are 3
Slinkard
cars.
also in the 99.
Sammy Swindell. That's the one car sitting there.
Yellow flag.
Sammy's tore up pretty good. The right rear. Looks like the rear axle, rear hub.
And he is not happy.
He took a big hit.
Yep. Well, you know, he wound up qualifying 15th, just a couple of more spots, and he would have been well ahead of those other fellas and perhaps could have missed this thing. That car is really torn up badly. If they can get this car back into the race again, it'll be quite a miracle. Munn's car lying sideways on the racetrack. Alan Munn will not make it. Been here all 10 weeks. 20 years of driving experience. Let me tell you how tough this is. Talk to some of the local fellas who race here each and every week, and they say they simply cannot believe how much more difficult it has been in this series to compete and to do so successfully. Let's see what happens.
You don't just have a lot of drivers from all over the country here. You have the best drivers. Swindell got tipped into the wall there. Brent Antill's going to make it around the outside. He's about the last one to get by there.
Yeah, and Munn just got caught in traffic. That's
I
it.
don't know what happened. Like I said, Sammy got together with somebody and got in the fence. And
somebody caught the left front of Sammy's car and sent him into the fence. Let's see. It's going to be way at the top of your screen.
Oh, yeah. Raymer. Oh,
Raymer.
boy. Yep. Turned him right into the wall and then back right in front of everybody.
Jeff Slinkard from Mesa.
Owner-operator. He's been to every single one of these races as well, except one. Also has not made it to the A main so far.
Fortunately, it's a short ride home. Tough break for Sammy Swindell. Not the way he wanted to end this series. We're under caution. In qualifying round 1, we'll be right back. The Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series is brought to you by Slick 50, because starting your engine is a terrible thing to do. By Delco Battery, the official battery of the Sprint Car World Series. By Ford and your Ford truck dealer. Ford Trucks, the best never rest. And by Nationwide Auto Parts, the official auto parts store of the Sprint Car World Series. Cajon Fire and Rescue says cold weather, earthquakes not here. Welcome back to Phoenix, everybody. Round 10, the final weekend of the Sprint Car World Series. Brad Doty, what do you think? Is everybody trying to win this on the first lap?
Well, this is the last race. You know, everybody's trying to win the last one, doing as well as they can. I really don't know if everybody will just settle down. We can get all the laps in, and we'll see what happens.
Well, Dick Berggren, patience is a virtue, but around this place looks like patience is a little hard to come by.
Well, you know, Mike, the speed papers have been filled with letters about all the crashes we have seen here, and indeed 37 cars have now been upside down. I'm going to stick with the same story I came out with in the third race of this series, which is intensity counts. These guys are really on the gas, and it's a short little racetrack, easy place to get in trouble.
Well, we're about set to go back to green in this first qualifying round. We've had 2 cautions and have yet to complete a lap. You're looking at Sammy Swindell's car. The right rear axle is snapped on that car. He is done for the day, and that means he's done for the series. Let's show you one more time what happened with Swindell.
Well, it's
already gone.
Yeah, from that angle, it already happened. But
there goes Alan Munn into it. I think he was okay until Alan got into it.
Sammy's car he would have been okay if he wouldn't have taken that hit.
A tough one, to be sure, for Swindell. Nice to see the wings and side panels on that car filling up with sponsors. When it started the season, there was nothing there.
Well, he's still got some room, he says, for another one. He's looking for a big one for the wing, and he is going to run the Outlaw Series in 1994.
Here's your point leader, Jeff Swindell, the leader by just 2 points. He's running in second.
That heavy grill, by the way, that heavy grill you see in front of Jeff, it's not nearly as big as it looks right there, but that's a rock guard to keep things from hitting him in the helmet.
All right, let's go racing. Single file on the restart. There's Dave Blaney in the 10 car going upstairs. And he's got a bead on Jeff Swindell as they go to turn 3. Swindell drops it down in front of Daniel Osowski in 47. Blaney drops back to 5th. Riding with Jeff Swindell. Man at work.
You can just see how sideways the sprint car runs at. It looks like he got too far sideways because Daniel Osowski got by him.
Right down on the bottom of turns 3 and 4.
Well, Andy's got to be happy with the way his car is working too out front. Danny's trying to catch him.
Did you ever flip a car, fix it, and have it run better? Andy did today.
Well, yeah.
Look at Blaney on the low side of Jeff Swindell. Blaney's coming in that number 10.
Yes, he is.
Hillenberg is in a world of his own, though. With that wrecked car, they've done a great job putting it together. He's way out front.
All by himself.
Here's your leader.
The STP Deuce of Andy Hillenberg out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Won the Chili Bowl 3 weeks ago, took a week off, and here he is. Upside down to the lead.
Yeah. See Andy's wing, you can notice there, that shot before he's starting to pull his wing back. See the track starting to slick off a little bit. They're up there leaning on the cushion.
Battle for second. Jeff Swindell right around the outside and gone.
That's where he said he wanted to run. Jeff and I walked this racetrack just moments before the start of this race, and he said upstairs is the place to be. That's where he's set up to go. Braver than me, I'll tell you, those marbles upstairs can really trip you in a hurry. Blaney up in those same marbles. The number 10, the Vibrant Ford.
Everybody's starting to move back down into 3 and 4, and see the moisture coming off just like we've had weeks before, and Blaney gets by. Just slides up, takes the line away from him.
Yeah, so far.
That's 3rd place behind Hillenberg and Lasowski. Blaney is 3rd. Jeff Swindell is now 4th. Keith Kauffman in 5th. Freddie Raymer is 6th. Marlon Jones running Raymer hard.
I have to admit, I'm a little surprised as cloudy as it has been today that the track is as slick as it is.
There's Freddie Raymer.
Might have
been moving up.
It might have surprised some of these guys, too.
Raymer in 6th place now. 12 cars qualify. Brent Antill is the man on the bubble right now. Leader Andy Hillenberg has gotten into some traffic.
82, Bobby Markham, one of the local racers, sort of amalgamated a car between what he had and what Steve Stapp had. Look at this, 3 wide with Lasowski in the 47 high, Blandford in the middle, and Blaney on the bottom. Blandford loses out. He is a lap car.
Blaney is really working well around the bottom.
Good race. That's for fourth.
That's the same move that he made before. Come off the floor, past Jeff, going into 1 and 2, and slid up, took the line away.
This is a strong operation that Dave Blaney has fielded here.
One of the Beatbackers cars off. I think that was KAEDING, and back on again.
It was Brett KAEDING, went off the backstretch. Back on again, running again.
Lasowski. There's KAEDING. Now the 3 red cars right on the right side of your screen are fighting for last qualifying spot. 74. Greg DeCaires. Brent Antill, 59 is in it. And 64, Jason Lund.
DeCaires in a brand new race car at number 74. They really brought it out here to try it.
And Lund's number 64 right behind him. Has entered as Bobby Cox Motorsports as the manager of the Atlanta Braves. He's here to see that car run today.
Brent Antill in the number 59 car right behind them. Here's Antill in the PTI car.
Good battle for last qualified spot. And here's Hillenberg right on him.
Yeah, wow, Hillenberg is really making time.
Bob Kinser goes over the cushion at turn 4.
Crash in turn number 2.
One of the Sonic cars.
Yep.
That's
Oswald.
Turn 4, yeah.
Check that. Marlon Jones.
Marlon Jones,
And
yep.
Steve Kent.
Bob Kinser drove over the cushion to avoid them, as did Ryan Jamison. Oh, Steve Kent said they had a little motor problem this morning, just a little glitch, a hiccup that they were trying to get cured, and he was up there battling with Jones for a qualified spot. Driver from California really thrilled us here a couple of weeks ago with his run to the front. See if either of these cars can get refired.
This had been Jones' best starting position inside second row for this thing before the accident happened. His best finish so far was his 7th. Dan Oswald drove one of the 2 cars that he brought here and put Marlon Jones in the other one, and they've been here for each and every race.
All right, the earlier incident that took out Sammy Swindell. Ralph can update us.
Well, we had a chance to catch up with Sammy. You were involved in the beginning of that incident. What happened to you?
Well, I just made a good start in between 2 cars, and you know, the one on the inside kind of moved up and kind of got into me pretty good, and it turned me around. The guy that was on the outside, it moved me up into him. We got over some wheels, turned around, and wasn't in real bad shape. I don't know if the bump from the wall or the last car that run into me broke the rear axle, but yeah, it's just part of it, I guess. Was in the middle, wasn't any place I could go. I just got caught between 2 cars and was making a good run. We were going to the front and just ended it early.
Sammy Swindell done for today.
Tough break for Swindell. One of the best that this type of racing has ever seen. Had a great week last week, and we'll show you some more action of Sammy a little later. Watch this pass for second place.
I'm going to tell you what, if this thing doesn't get your blood pressure boiling, look at this. Lasowski on the outside, Blandford in the middle, and on the bottom, Blaney.
Now, what did Blandford do to pitch that car and just have it squirt out from under him?
Well, he got ran in hard is what happened. The 2 guys beside him, he actually got in harder and deeper than he wanted to. Those guys were sticking and he couldn't, and about spun. Blaney got a squirt off the bottom and drove by Danny and passed him going into turn 1. He did the same move lap before and passed Jeff.
We're under caution, 5 to go. There's Dave Blaney and Danny Lasowski.
Lasowski was second here last week in that number 47 car.
Look at the field as they get set to go back to green. There's some lapped cars in between, and way at the tail end is Steve Kent. There's what's left of the wing on his car.
That's going to make it hard to go fast. California's Steve Kent with a badly damaged wing.
Selma Shell Racing, Kent's entry.
Most important part of those wings are the uprights, not the downforce. It's the uprights that act as a rudder and help you get through the corner, and that's what's most damaged on Steve Kent's wing.
Dave Blaney was closing in on Andy Hillenberg for the lead when we went to caution. Hillenberg the leader, Blaney in second, Lasowski is third, Kauffman is 4th. Raymer is 5th. Stevie Smith is 6th.
Boy, Blaney is fast here. He's coming.
Yeah, this is exactly what Blaney needed, was a caution flag to allow himself to get closed up on the number 2 of Hillenburg.
Jeff Swindell is backing up. Sid Blanford's gone by him. Jeff is back to 8th, fighting Ryan Jamison. He may have to struggle to qualify here.
Blaney.
Oh, Blaney straightens it out.
Yep. That was a good save. Oh, he's got a flat left front tire.
Well, he can keep going with that flat left front tire unless Doug Clark decides it's unsafe and gives him the lock flag, which he can do.
They've done that to a few cars. If as long as the yellow doesn't come out, he'll be okay.
Kauffman on the bottom in that number 5 car, making time on Blaney.
I spoke earlier about the track surprising me, and I think it surprised Jeff Swindell and his crew. The track slicked over, and unfortunately they're backing up a little bit.
Brent Kaeding, the latest driver to climb the cushion in 3.
Wow, look at this.
Got 1 lap to go.
Yeah, this is a fight for position.
Raymer in 21 has been moving up fast, and he's just about caught Kauffman.
Kauffman is 3rd right now.
Blaney backing up.
But Blaney's doing a great job on a flat tire, isn't he?
Checkered flag. Andy Hillenburg will win it. Danny Lasowski is 2nd. 3rd place. Kauffman's going to hold on. It's going to be Raymer for 4th. Jeff Swindell for 5th. Dave Blaney, Ryan Jamison, Sid Blanford, Bob Kinser. We'll let scoring sort out the rest.
Andy they have to be beside themselves. I mean, they flip the car, get it fixed, and win the race. They did a great job.
We'll talk to him in a moment and be right back live to Phoenix. Until next winter, it says. Packed house here at Canyon Raceway. Nice to see a filled grandstand. Let's get down with our first heat winner. Here's Ralph.
Mike, here's a look at the frame where it cracked on Andy Hillenburg's machine. You can see the welding job that was done by Moon Byers and the crew of Stevie Smith's car. Now, how bad was this car really, and did it get better because it got broken?
No, it didn't get better. It was pretty bad. The frame was bowed up. It's bowed up about an inch or so. Whenever we turned over, it hit directly on the frame, bent the frame way up in the air. So we just welded it back together, and those J&J cars are hard to beat.
Now, did you notice any other problems? I heard you were smelling radiator fluid.
Well, I was smelling a little bit of overflow, and I think what happened whenever we turned over, it got in the overflow hose, and it was draining on the headers, but I don't think it's any big deal.
So Rooster and the gang will go to work now to get the rest of this STP machine ready to go for the main event.
Thanks, Ralph. Our Gold Eagle Skins Game Challenge was not won by anybody in the series. Nobody could make fast time and then win the qualifying race and the main event. So last night we had a 10-lap shootout with the 9 weekly fastest qualifiers for a $10,000 purse. Jeff and Sammy started up front in that one. Danny Lasowski there in row number 2 with Mark Kinser, Steve Kinser, and Freddie Raymer. Andy Hillenburg, Keith Kauffman, and Dave Blaney slugged it out for 10 laps.
Yeah, Jeff got a great start for about 8 feet before his engine went sour. He lost a rocker arm, and he's gone, and so is Sammy. Off the back straightaway, Mark Kinser has also just left the racetrack. He forgot, believe it or not, to turn his fuel on. And so the engine just sputtered, and he thought it was gone and left the racetrack.
What happens, the driver turned the fuel only halfway on, so it'll lean the motor out, warm it up quicker. I've done that myself. You forget to turn it on, and it's trouble.
Kauffman in number 5 just got into this thing last night. He was 2nd quick qualifier. When they disqualified Hannigan, he wound up in the race. Here's Sammy Swindell. Just a few moments ago, his car was all torn up. Same car. Ran better last night. He had better luck last night. Feature lineup was determined by the draws. Sammy had some luck last night in pulling number 2.
Yeah, Sammy was one of the last ones to draw, and there were 2 pills left, a 2 and an 8. And Sammy drew the 2.
Well, he used up all his luck last night for the weekend, winning the Gold Eagle shootout over Steve Kinser, Andy Hillenburg, Danny Lasowski, and Steve Kauffman, Dave Blaney, and Freddie Raymer.
Well, and now to present the $10,000 check, the Vice President of Gold Eagle, Mr. Jerry Smith.
Sammy, on behalf of Gold Eagle, we're just happy to present to you with this $10,000 check. It's a big one, in more ways than one.
Yeah, well, I sure appreciate it. You know, it's just nice to have people out here support sprint car racing like that. And, you know, I'm glad I got it, but, you know, we kind of took it away from your car, but, you know, that was the whole idea going in.
The family. That's
yeah,
not bad.
Today's qualifying race 1 won by Andy Hillenberg. Danny Lasowski, Keith Kauffman, Freddie Raymer, Jeff Swindell, and Dave Blaney will transfer, along with Ryan Jamison, Greg DeCaires, Steve Kent, Brent Antill, Brett Kaeding, and Todd Ventura. We'll be right back. We are back live at Canyon Raceway near Phoenix. Mike Joy with Brad Doty and Dick Berggren, Ralph Shaheen in the pits. And here we go with qualifying race number 2 as you look at Rocky Hodges and Steve Kinser side by side. Rocky will have our in-car camera. They're in row 2. In the front row, Randy Tyner timed in, and Johnny Herrera hopped down to the front row.
Greg Hodnett inside row 3. One of our college graduates, Joe Gertie, outside him. Blake Robertson, young man, 18 years old, row 4, and Mark Kinser outside him.
Row 5 on the inside, Stevie Smith. Outside of him, Gary Lee Maier. Row 6, Jeff Schrum. Outside, Marty Wilcox.
Back in the 9th row, or 7th row rather, Terry McCarl and Daryl Hanestad. Craig Delansky and Shane Carson share the 8th row.
And in row 9 on the inside is Howard Kaeding, Brent's father, Billy Turner. Row 10 is Sparky Howard and Wayne Bennett.
On row 11, Randy Hannigan, Rich Buback outside of him. Row 12, Dion Hindy and Steve Ballinger with a long way to go to the front.
Rich Buback is going on his honeymoon during Daytona Speed Week. Up into the mountains in Denver. They're going to take the train through the Rockies and then go up in the hills, and he's going to have to wear a sign around his neck, "Do not tell me who won the Daytona 500," because they're going to tape it and try to watch it when he gets home. Randy Tyner has the pole for this one. The El Dorado Hotel and Casino Tri-C Construction entry out of Rio Linda, California. That's the car with the Chevy engine with the Buick heads.
Randy, a hearing impaired driver. Tammy Wilkinson, his girlfriend, goes to the driver's meeting and signs what is being said, so Randy knows what the rules are.
He's a good racer, too.
Good
And
guy.
let's go racing. 20 laps.
And he gets the jump.
Half the field will qualify. Herrera right in the meat in the sandwich going into turn 1, and he gets driven up the racetrack a bit by Rocky Hodges. He comes right back in the 45 car. On the bottom.
And Hodges having a great run in that number 2 car.
He's running a new Hoosier tire that, we talked before about Goodyear and McCurry on the slick racetrack. Hoosiers brought some tires out, and Rockies.
Yellow flag. Crash in turn number 1. Hannigan is involved in it. And Jeff Schrum in the 51.
Jeff Schrum's the other one that happens to be running the Hoosier tire. He's going to try tonight.
I got a good look at that right rear Hoosier, and I'm not kidding, folks, and I'm not making fun of the weather back east, but it looks like a snow tire.
It would do well in a heavy snowstorm, I think. It's huge.
There it is on the right rear.
Huge, absolutely enormous.
And if we can get in there, look at the difference between that, and I think that's a Goodyear.
And look at that fuel tank. That fuel tank on Schrum's car is leaking methanol on the racetrack at a heavy rate.
Well, safety crew, the Budweiser safety crew, right on the scene quickly.
I'm going to tell you, those guys have done a terrific job here. Between them, they have 100 years experience at doing this kind of thing, and they've just done a great job of protecting the drivers and taking good care of them in these accidents.
Let's show you what happened here with Jeff Schrum, Randy Hannigan. Lower left corner of your screen.
Oh, dear.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Yeah, Schrum hit that wall hard with the fuel tank, and that's why it ruptured.
It actually broke the wall right there. It looked like...
Well, they talk about knocking the walls down. I guess that's just what he did.
That's one of Sammy Swindell's old race cars, I was told.
That Hannigan's driving.
Yeah. Hannigan and Swindell are good friends. Hannigan constantly talking to Sammy.
There's a look at Randy Hannigan. He was the fastest qualifier last night, but a fuel check knocked him out of the top spot last evening. He had to come in through the last chance race.
Strange deal here. They've got a guy selling methanol on the dirt road coming into the racetrack, and you roll down the window of your rental car and say, "Gee, can I buy some nitro?" He says, "Sure, no problem. What would you like to buy?" They don't sell nitro at the Speedway. It's illegal.
There's Jeff Schrum. He is okay.
I think he's a little shaken up. He's going to take a ride in the Canyon Rescue truck. Truck made especially for automobile racing.
Coming up at Pocono International Raceway, the ARCA Hooters 150 and the Pocono 500. You'll see those live on TNN. And the champion of our series will be driving in the ARCA Hooters 150, or at least have a car and an attempt to qualify, courtesy of Hooters, ARCA, and TNN. For tickets to all Pocono events, call 1-800-RACEWAY. Here's Ralph.
You know, the folks at Ford have done a lot to help us with our push trucks here this year at the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. And joining us from the Ford Motor Company, Tori Galida. And Tori, we'd like to present you with this plaque of appreciation for all your help this year.
Well, thanks very much, Ralph. You know, at Ford, we're very committed to supporting racing at every level. And everybody at Ford Division, Special Vehicle Operations, and Truck Operations is very happy that we were able to help out with the race today. The F-Series has been the best-selling truck in America for 17 straight years, and hopefully we'll win that honor again next year and be back here to support the series again.
Always a close battle between the Ford F-Series, the Chevy CK Series, and the new Dodge Ram, but Ford has been the sales leader, best-selling car or truck in the United States. Many, many years running. There's a look at the F-150 Lightning as their hot rod truck. Last week of our trivia contest, and our last winner of 2 tickets to pole qualifying, the Busch race and the Winston Cup race, Goodwrench weekend at Rockingham. Last week's question involved Pontiac and Chevy 1-2 finishes in the last 3 races. Last one was Kyle Petty and Ernie Irvin. Paul Blue of Saginaw, Michigan. He is our final winner. Thanks to everybody who entered. And you can see the Goodwrench races right here on TNN. We're back live near Phoenix, Arizona, in front of a packed house for this final event, the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series.
You know, Jeff Schrum hitting the wall there, and back then like that, I know he was hoping for good things. You know, he has a couple guys, a couple brothers, Glenn and Gary, that drive all the way from Las Vegas down here over 300 miles every weekend and back to help Jeff Schrum.
We are back under green. 1 lap completed. Randy Tyner up in front. Rocky Hodges in second. Steve Kinser, if he finishes first or second in this heat, will take the point lead from Jeff Swindell.
There's Mark driving underneath of Steve. He looks pretty good. He's also got a new Hoosier tire on, Mark does.
Mark Kinser in 52. Work in America car.
Steve takes the high line. Mark's on the bottom.
Mark is stuck right through the middle, similar we saw Sammy last weekend. Mark found the middle and is working really well.
Steve listening to IndyCar mechanic Owen Snyder on the radio, who's telling him where to run. Owen's had a lot of sprint car experience, despite the fact he's a cheap mechanic for an IndyCar.
And the best news of this weekend, confirmed today, or announced today, for short track racers all across the country, they have received their due. A short track racer has been named to the International Race of Champions, and it is Steve Kinser. What could be more fitting?
It's just a wonderful thing. It really is. Al Unser Jr., a former sprint car driver, has volunteered to work with him. And all of you folks who wanted to see a short track racer, a dirt track racer get into IROC, you're going to see it. Steve Kinser has been invited and accepted.
Let's get back up front. 3 complete. Randy Tyner has been holding off Rocky Hodges and Joe Gertie. Now you are riding with Rocky Hodges, looking at the lead car.
This is Hodges' best run of this entire show.
Tyner is around.
Tyner spun. Oh, no.
Tyner just got hit.
Yep.
By Johnny Herrera.
Mark Kinser also involved.
Mark was running.
Well, sitting at home,
Hodges did get through okay.
Sitting at home, did your heart jump like ours did, and like
boy.
Rocky Hodges must have?
Rocky did a nice job.
There is nothing like auto racing on television that is live. You see it exactly as it happened. And I'm going to tell you what, my heart skipped a beat. Maybe 4 or 5 beats, really.
Folks, I love football. But on a play from scrimmage, there's only 4 things that can possibly happen. Somebody runs with the ball, somebody throws the ball, somebody kicks the ball, or somebody drops the ball. Here, anything, anytime can happen. Probably will. Randy Tyner's girlfriend standing on the wall, signaling to Randy.
Boy, Mark's just had terrible luck, hasn't he? I mean, he was running so well, stuck through the middle of the racetrack. I mean, the car wasn't slipping out from under him a bit.
And he was the leader. What happened?
Well, Tyner just all by himself. Apparently something happened. It is a rough racetrack today. It is a black slick racetrack, and he just lost the handle.
Joe Gertie did an excellent job also. He was actually going around
the 9 car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mark
caught him.
Boom.
Yeah. Not enough to hurt anything. Would have to put him on the tail.
Yeah, Herrera hit him pretty hard. Herrera in that 45X car. Mark Kinser in the number 5 that's at the top of the racetrack.
How did Rocky Hodges miss him?
And Joe Gertie. Like I said, Joe was actually looked like he was trying to pass Rocky and might have had it done.
All right, let's watch and listen.
could actually hear Rocky was on the brake so hard, you could hear him actually kill the motor there for a second. I mean, he locked the brakes up so hard. Did a good job.
Tyner obviously very upset. He pounded the cowl a little bit when that thing ended. I am really impressed with the job Rocky Hodges is doing here today. He has said all along that this United Express car was a good race car, a fast race car, and he could get it done.
Ralph?
Mike, you can see the crews are working hard on Johnny Herrera's car. In fact, the guy who's leading the charge here for Johnny is Brent KAEDING. Brent's over here. They've got to change this shock back here, and that's about all. Change this shock and put on a new tire, and he can get back out.
Herrera sits in the car. He and his girlfriend said, we got to party twice as hard tonight because it's the last week of the series. Let's hope he's got something to party about here. Let's show you one more replay of this in a different angle. Tyner is number 3, the leader.
Boy, you know, I don't really know what happened there. It looked like it banged the left rear really hard and got him loose. You know, we saw Steve Kinser do that when his rear brake locked up here weeks ago. I don't know if something happened to the brake or he just got out of the throttle so quick it banged the left rear frame rail and turned the car around.
Tyner's car being hauled back to the pit for the last time in this series. And Rocky Hodges now has only the Ford pace truck in front of him.
And he can pass that as soon as the pace truck goes in the infield. Meanwhile, Herrera has got to get out here before the light goes out on that pace truck, and the light is out now. Herrera not going to make it back again.
Everybody on the lead lap here.
Rocky told me, too, this is really the first weekend that he's felt good since he had that streetcar crash here a couple weeks into the series, and he's feeling good and leading the race.
Well, they'll start this time with 6 laps complete. And Kinser trying to come from the bottom. It is Valvoline number 11. Moving up against the Kelly number 8 of Greg HODNETT for 3rd place.
The track looks like it's loose getting into turn 3, and when I say loose, the back of the cars are hanging out a little bit more than they want them to, and they have to be careful getting in.
See Kinser, and right behind him Stevie Smith. Meanwhile, Mark Kinser, who was involved in that crash, is trying hard to come from the back.
Steve Kinser running in 4th spot.
Here's Mark. He's got Dion Hindi, and he's moved up to 15th. And back up front, Joe GAERTE is now putting the pressure on Rocky Hodges.
This is Joe's best run of the series, too.
One of those Tom Wimmer, Bob Kramer cars. That team has brought 3 cars. The number 9 right now running in 2nd. Jeff Swindell runs one of them. GAERTE runs another one, and HODNETT runs the 3rd.
GAERTE is all over Rocky Hodges in the straightaway. Has the bottom.
He went in on
Caution.
Oh, turn 3. 2 cars in it. Billy Turner is 1, and the 81 of Craig Delansky is the other.
Delansky's had a tough weekend. Last night, he went end over end in the 2nd lap of his qualifying session. Bent the car up badly. This, by the way, is a car he borrowed from Brent Anthill.
Now you can see Anthill's number 59 on the tail of that red car.
Yep, and his Polydome sponsor up on top. And they worked on that car all night last night, got it out here, and, well, it didn't exactly work out well for Craig Delansky.
Keeps everybody on the lead lap here with 9 complete. Mark Kinser trying to move. He's the last car in line there. And Turner takes it in. He was on the bubble at the time.
Yep.
Gets tied up.
And here comes the 81 of Delansky.
When Mark made a move just before that happened, if you noticed, he was on the inside, and he wanted to run to the top of the racetrack, and he moved, changed lanes, went to the outside, and luckily he did, because when they spun, he was out there and missed it.
Doug Clark signaling there'll be 5 laps to go in his 2nd qualifying round when we get a restart. Again, single file, and all cars are on the lead lap. Delansky's being pushed to the pits and out of the show.
Delansky came here today with a very sore knee as a result of that accident last night.
On the bubble, Sparky Howard in number 44 out of Santa Rosa, California. Mark Kinser still back in 15th. Green next time.
You know, Hoosier has to be pretty proud. Joe GAERTE's also on a Hoosier tire. And they're both running 1-2 the first weekend. If they bring the tires out, they have to be really happy.
Yeah, this was supposed to have been a wet racetrack. I told the Hoosier guy, that thing's not going to work because you're not going to have the dry slick that tire was developed for.
And Howard KAEDING looks like may make the show. 61 years old?
Yeah, 61.
Great. There he is.
Well, Bob Kinser's older than he is by a whole year.
Under green.
Interesting line that the number 2 car took on that green flag. He went down and then way out again. Rocky Hodges, your leader.
You see Joe's going in just a little bit higher than Rocky is going into turn 3.
Yeah, they've got HODNETT right behind him too. There's HODNETT, that blue car on the bottom, and then Steve Kinser running in 4th spot.
Kinser's not even going to come close to contesting, it looks like. Going to be a big fight for the bubble spot, though. Rocky Hodges up front.
Kramer and Wimmer must be wondering about this. Their 2 cars are now running side by side for second.
And HODNETT, I'm sorry, Dick.
HODNETT catches Gertie.
Just as you say that.
Oh. Kinser has to go up over the cushion and take evasive action. We go back to the last scored lap, of course. Boy, called shot.
Yeah, that's
not a good one.
Yeah, that's exactly what car owners get together with their drivers about week after week. They say, I don't care what you do, just don't take out my other car. And this team does get together a lot. They talk about a lot of things. The setups are all different between the cars, but they were supposed to take care of each other. And, well, you get racing a car and you know what happens. Off you go.
You said get together a lot. You mean in the pits, right?
Oh, yeah. Get together in the pits and talk things over.
Here it is. Backstretch.
Just going for the same spot at the same time. You know, Joe had no idea, didn't know that he was down there and was going to go to the bottom and chop down.
I wonder about the folks who were on the radios, what they were saying, if anything, to these guys. Now, Sammy Swindell's radio guy last week told him about a different line. Sammy used that line, went off and won the race. And there have been several occasions where radios have helped people avoid accidents.
Here's a guy having his best week of the series. Gary Lee Maier out of Dodge City, Kansas. He is right now in 5th place in this heat. It looks like he'll make the show handily. Meanwhile, Mark Kinser has moved up. He was 15th on the restart. He is now the bubble car, number 52. The Work in America machine.
From the back. He's had to come from the back as a result of spinning out.
12th place on the bubble. They will run green-white checker, so it's 2 laps to go.
Until this week, Mark Kinser was the only driver who had qualified in the top 10 every single week. Only one who had timed in the top 10. No one has finished in the top 10 every race, and now no one has timed in the top 10. And I think that's a reflection of just how intense this competition has been. Rocky Hodges there in that pink number 2. Stevie Smith in the 77. He had engine trouble last night, worked on it. He's back running again.
Steve Kinser is up to 3rd place. If he finishes there, he and Jeff Swindell will be in a tie for the point lead going to the feature. Now, there are points for each position in the feature event, plus points for leading a lap, plus points for leading the most laps, just like in a Winston Cup race.
You know, this thing means so much more to Jeff Swindell, I think, than it does to Steve Kinser. Kinser has won the World of Outlaw Championship 13 times. 9 times he's won Knoxville, 9 times he's won the Gold Cup, 6 times he's won the Western World. Big article in USA Today this week about Jeff Swindell. He wants to win that thing more than anything.
Yeah, you're right, Dick. I talked with him last night. He had a chance at 10,000 to win. When that rocker arm broke, he said, I'd rather break last night than today. He really wants this thing.
Championships mean a lot. It's something you can look back on when you can't race anymore and say, I did it. Special deal, believe me.
2 laps to go. We're under green. Rocky Hodges gets a good jump. Joe Gertie spins the wheels off 4, and here comes Kinser.
I noticed under the yellow, Rocky was driving up in the brown dirt, trying to cool his tires off. He must felt like he was getting loose. Thought maybe he could cool the tires down. It would help. And right now he's
White flag.
It must have helped him because he's actually pulled away. And well, just as I say that, Joe pulls right up on him.
Hodges, Gertie, Kinser, and Stevie Smith, the front 4.
Checker coming out this time around.
And Rocky Hodges will pick up the qualifying round win.
The crowd liked it, too. Boy, the crowd just stuck its hands up in the air when Rocky Hodges won that race.
Dean Lindsay, the car owner of that thing, I bet he's jumping off the trailer right now in the Gear Speed Shop.
We'll find out in a minute when we come back. The Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series, live on TNN. How do you spell champion? Kinser, it said there. Sprint car fan. Hey, Ralph, what's up?
Well, Mike, here's a quick lesson for you. Here's a traditional pattern that you see on big dirt track tires, the block pattern. Here's what that new Hoosier looks like. See the radical S-shaped lines to it, and here's the guy that brought it to a first-place finish in his first time out, Rocky. Is this the key?
Well, I have to say it, you know, how can you say that it's not part of the key when you go out there and the car was flawless? Lucky enough, Hoosier let us try one of their new tires tonight, and it was pretty impressive where I was sitting.
What were they telling you on the radio? You had a lot of things going on behind you. What was Dean saying to you?
Don't go off two. He said, don't slide off the track on two. Other than that, keep doing what you're doing.
Well, it worked out fine, and here's Dean back here with the rest of the crew. They're getting the car ready to go for the main event.
Thanks, Ralph. Here's the way they finished. Rocky Hodges, Joe Gertie, Steve Kinser, Stevie Smith in 4th, Terry McCarl in 5th, Gary and Maier made the show in 6th. Daryl Hanestad, Mark Kinser up to 8th, Blake Robertson, Marty Wilcox, Sparky Howard, and Shane Carson, the Flyers. Jeff Swindell tied for the points lead with Sammy Swindell rolling up a new choice of tire.
Did you get that look on his face? That is as determined a look as I have ever seen on a race car driver's face.
These guys are serious.
Do you want to hear?
Rick Crouch is just had his car towed off to the infield. Ralph?
Well, Jeff, I see you busy pushing the tire over here. How's the mental game going? You're tied for the points with 1 race to go.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if we hadn't have been so unlucky there in that qualifying race. I think we had the car just way too loose, and you know, I figured we was in major trouble. And then that second one started off, and Steve went straight to the back. He done backed up to 7th, I think. All the crashes happened in front of him, put him right back up into 3rd. So I mean, he was a lot luckier than we were in the qualifying race. So hopefully we can just turn that back around in the feature.
That's a very interesting point there, gentlemen, because the one thing Jeff will tell you is the key to his victories and his success so far during this series has been luck. We're with the other half of this championship battle. Steve, what are you doing to your car? Enough time to make your changes?
Well, not everything we want to do. We need to make some suspension changes, but we don't have time to do it, so we'll just do what we can and hope somehow we get a little bit faster.
What exactly did you do?
Well, we just changed some offsets on the wheels and a little bit, and went for a little bit different rollout and stuff, so and a little different air pressure and future shock changes and just whatever we can do minor here real quick.
Right now, the crew is back here siping up the left rear tire, trying to get that tire to work as good as it can on this slippery racetrack.
And we'll be back to Canyon Raceway near Phoenix after this. Darren Law waits till the last week to go to Victory Lane with the Slick 50 girls. And our sprinters are coming out for their final event of the Winter Series of 1994. Speedway Motors has been a strong supporter of this series, and here's your last chance to get their $5 catalog for free. 22,000 parts for your race car. No t-shirts, nothing for race fans, but if you own a race car, the call is free and the catalog is free if you call this number, 1-800-646-7890. And they can ship you 98% of those parts within 5 hours of taking your order. So if you need it, and you need it now, Speedway Motors, call them for a free catalog anytime this week at that 800 number. We'll be back to line up our final Slick 50 Sprint Car main event of the season right after this. The Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series is brought to you by Slick 50, because starting your engine is a terrible thing to do. By Delco Battery, the official battery of the Sprint Car World Series. By Ford and your Ford truck dealer. Ford Trucks, the best never rest. And by Nationwide Auto Parts, the official auto parts store of the Sprint Car World Series.
4 wide, World of Outlaws tradition. 4 wide, coming off the 4th corner. Beautiful sight, full field of sprint cars. And the burglar alarms are going off in the parking lot. The sprint cars have so much horsepower that they periodically do this, and the burglar alarms are going nuts in our parking lot.
That's a pretty sight.
Yeah, it really is. World of Outlaws starts their series in a couple of weeks in Florida. Hillenberg on the pole with that number 2 car back here, starting on the pole after going end over end in practice. Jeff Swindell trying to win this championship.
And here's the final on the championship for the Legends cars. Ralph?
We got our winner down here. That would be Frank Davis is here with us, and Frank's trophy. Congratulations, Frank. Long fight for that championship trophy.
Oh, I swear to goodness, I can't tell you how much and how proud I am to have done this. And Jody was a very hard contender. And you know, I would actually, if I couldn't have won, I would have, nobody else would have won but me, you know.
And he gets it by 2 points over Jody.
And the only way he got it was by winning his heat race. His finish in the main event would not have given him the championship. So by 2 points over Jody Felice, Frank Davis is the champion. Here's your Slick 50 starting lineup for tonight's main event. Andy Hillenberg and Rocky Hodges are up front. Danny Lasowski and Joe GAERTE in row 2.
In the third row on the inside, Keith Kauffman in the 5, Steve Kinser outside him, Freddie Raymer from Pennsylvania, and Stevie Smith in row 4.
In row 5 and 7 is Jeff Swindell. Outside of him, Terry McCarl. Row 6 and 10, Dave Blaney. Gary Lee Meyer outside of him.
Ryan Jamison and Daryl Hanestad, row 7. In row 8, Greg DeCaires and Mark Kinser.
Steve Kent inside row 9, outside him, youngster Blake Robinson. Row 10, Brent Antill, Knoxville regular, and Marty Wilcox, local Phoenix driver, outside row 10.
Row 11, Brent KAEDING, Sparky Howard. Row 12, Todd Ventura. On the outside of him is Shane Carson.
And that's the way they'll start in this, the final round of 1994. Due to the heat race finishes, Jeff Swindell and Steve Kinser are completely locked up and tied in points. If they lead a lap, they get 2 points. The driver leads the most laps, gets 2 points. And then their finishing position will determine the champion. In car, you'll be riding with Rocky Hodges once again in the United Express number 92.
He's going to be starting from the outside front row position. Hillenberg on the inside of him. Crowd giving him the wave, the Canyon Speedway wave. As the cars go down, the wave goes right with them. Tension level increasing here. Light out on the pace truck. Hillenberg takes him out of turn 2 for the last feature event of this series. Down the back straightaway.
Everybody's giving a last tug on their shoulder belts and checking, making sure they're ready.
Lasowski inside in second row, and then number 47, and here we go.
We are racing for the final time at Canyon Raceway this winter.
Lasowski,
he gets tied up there, and Hillenberg grabs the lead. Lasowski couldn't get the power down. Hillenberg grabs the lead, and here comes Hodges in third. Joe GAERTE in fourth, and Steve Kinser in fifth. Tangle. Keith Kauffman bounced up and over a 2-car crash. Ryan Jamison, and I believe that's Stevie Smith.
44, Sparky Howard was also involved in it. He managed to keep going. Jamison in the 37, Stevie Smith in the number 77 car. Stevie Smith in that 77 has been a contender week after week after week. He has been with us for both years of this series, has not won one of these things. Ryan Jamison in the 37 also has been with us for the whole series.
It's sure hard to win one of these things on the first lap. It sure is easy to lose one.
Yeah, that's for sure, Mike.
Let's show you what happened here.
Oh, looks like Terry McCarl got in the back of Stevie Smith.
27 is Carl.
Look at Kauffman in the 5 go bouncing over.
Had the left front hanging up on the fence.
Yeah, he was monster trucking it through turn 3 there.
Now you get through any way you can, I guess.
While we're under caution, I want to take a second and thank Larry Newberg, who sat in last week. By far the country's most knowledgeable sprint car anchor. Happy to have Larry here. He is back with us tonight. In case I couldn't get back, I'm glad to be here, but I'm sure glad he was here last week for us. For your race team communications, call Racing Electronics, the official communications of the Sprint Car World Series. They'll send you a free catalog. Dial 1-800-272-7111. The official apparel supplier is Advanced Embroidery Design. They provide the Sprint Car World Series with sales and embroidery machines and design systems. For info, call 1-800-849-8308. Hotel accommodations are provided by the Holiday Inn Phoenix Corporate Center, the official host hotel of the Sprint Car World Series. For info and reservations, dial 1-800-989-2189. Well, Dick, you mentioned Keith Kauffman climbed the wall in turn 3. He suffered a flat left front tire for his trouble. He's staying on the racetrack. Here in the pits, they're working on Stevie Smith's car.
Kauffman's going to stay in his position, too. He's in 6th. Ralph
Flat left front tire for Stevie Smith. Keith KAUFFMAN has the same problem. Now, Moon Byers and Devin DeLucio getting the tire changed along with Rooster Connolly here on Stevie Smith's car. The problem, will Keith KAUFFMAN get in time? His crew is ready to go.
Yeah, they're going to pull KAUFFMAN in. Doug Clark has issued him the black flag.
Yeah, as we spoke before, now if he can get in and get it changed to get back out, he has to tag the tail. I have never seen so many left front tires go flat in a series ever.
Well, I think part of that, Brad, is that they're running so close to the walls that they do just exactly what KAUFFMAN did. You tag that wall a little bit, and these tires are running with 5, 6, 7 pounds of air pressure. There's not much escape before you have a tire that's completely flat.
Yeah, on the line going into turn 3 here for most of these weeks has been right down in the gutter. Ralph?
The crew going to work on the car now. Melvin's got the jack underneath there. They'll get it up in the air and try and get this tire off as quickly as they can. Moon Byers comes over to help these guys who are helping them. As soon as they get that tire off, they got one ready to go on, and maybe Keith KAUFFMAN will make it. The police truck is ready, and here comes the new tire ditch.
All right, tire up and on.
Now they just got to get the lugs taken care of. Half a second getting it on. There's 3 that they've got to get put on there. If they get those 3 tightened, Devin sticks the wrench up in there. They get those 3 tightened, he'll be able to go back out.
These tires are run tubeless to save weight and heat, but there are no tubes in these tires, and they don't take, it doesn't take much to have them go flat.
Well, light is still flashing on the pace truck. They still have a chance. They can still do it if they're quick. Red light flashing on the pace truck.
Yep, they get one more lap, and then it'll be time to go.
I bet they're going to have an air wrench for this situation next time.
Why don't they run a single lug on the front tires? I mean, a single
weight.
Weight?
To save weight.
Yeah.
Look at this. KAUFFMAN's going to make it. He's going to make it.
Sure doesn't save any time.
Well, see that, you know, usually you don't see left front tires going flat that often.
Right.
A lot of guys are running hubcaps, dust covers over the front wheel to keep the dirt out, and that even takes longer.
KAUFFMAN's back, and the crowd loves it.
Yeah, and he came out of that pit like a cowboy rider at a rodeo. Boy, he just blasted out of there, didn't he?
Yeah, he monster trucked the cushion.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Forbrook told him before the race started that car is done after this race, so they're building a new one, so whatever it took, race it.
As brave as Keith KAUFFMAN is, I would not tell him that.
Bring back the steering wheel, and that's it.
That's it.
We completed a lap. Andy Hillenberg is the race leader.
Well, Rocky Hodges, who we're riding with, has never won one of these. Jeff Swindell here has won 3 of them. Bramer behind him has won 1.
And we're back to green. Hodges looking low. KINSER looking low on Joe Gertie, right on the bottom in 1. That hasn't been the quick way around, but KINSER is even with Gertie back straight away. Dive bombs him in 3. That's for 4th place. Hillenberg the leader. 2nd place a tussle. Lasowski high. And down low, Rocky Hodges. This battle for 4th.
There's the point battle.
KINSER and Swindell. They are 5th and 6th in the running order.
Drivers told at the meeting, give these guys a little bit extra room. Nothing special, but just don't run into them and screw up their chances to win this championship.
Dave Blaney coming fast to the vibrant Casey Luna number 10.
Jeff Swindell has got to get by that number 11 if he is to be champion.
Blaney up to 6th. There's Swindell. Leader single file. Joe Gertie up and over the cushion and back.
Just almost went clear off the racetrack. He just hung and hung and hung up there forever. Lost his position.
That'll move KINSER to 4th and Swindell to 5th. Gertie coming back in the 9 car.
Hillenberg way out there as your leader.
Gertie and Jeff are teammates, and you can bet Joe's not going to... He's going to give Jeff a little extra room, I would think.
But in doing so, he gives Blaney a spot in the number 10 car.
Blaney's working well right through the middle of the racetrack. We've seen before the guys that find the middle.
Leader is coming into lap traffic as Blaney wheelies the back straightaway.
This is for 5th. Jeff Swindell has 5th position. For the moment,
Spin, turn 3. And a caution. 27 goes around Terry McCarl. From 9th place, McCarl spins.
You know, Andy's car looks so well right now. He said the front of the car, the frame is actually bent up an inch. So they probably had to screw the torsion bolts in to raise the car back up. J&J might have to rethink their chassis design, maybe raise the front tubes as well as he's working.
They might have crashed into something that worked.
Yeah.
Terry McCarl, one of the real hard-working driver owners here, riding at the moment with Jeff Swindell, who has got to pick up one more spot to win this championship. And passing Steve Kinser is never easy, but when there's a championship, it's even worse. Ralph?
This is Rooster Connolly, the crew chief for Andy Hillenberg. Now, they were talking upstairs about what you had to do to get that frame right to make Andy run this well. What did you do to it?
Well, we had to grind the frame down and went down at Moon and Evans and welded the frame up to get it back right, but it's still bent a little bit, but it's fine.
Is it working okay for him? What's he saying over the radio?
He just talked about positions, how to track and where to run, but the car is working fine.
I like that. It's been up just fine. Yeah. It sure is. Andy Hillenberg. Now, there are two Andy Hillenbergs, for those of you that are not devoted sprint car fans. This is Oklahoma Andy.
Indiana Andy.
That's the other one.
That's the other one.
It's anybody's race still. Well, the word has been given. We're just about set.
I'll show you something here that happened to Jeff Swindell, almost losing a spot here to Dave Blaney.
Nose came off the racetrack. He had to let out of the throttle just a little bit to get it down so he could steer. Oh, Blaney's all over the back end of that car.
Jeff was able to slide up and take the line from him where Dave couldn't get by.
Mark Kinser has come from 16th to 10th. He's had a great run up through the field.
It's a percentage racer. Green flag.
7 laps complete. Nice clean start, and I think Blaney is the man on the move.
Yeah, his car looks really good right now.
Look at this. Jeff Swindell has got Stevie Kinser on the bottom.
Jeff's
for the championship. Kinser just taps the back of Rocky Hodges, and here comes Swindell.
Look at this. They're all over each other, 3 wide.
Kinser, nice save. Blaney wants a piece of it. This is for the championship right here.
Here comes Steve back underneath, as you can see from the camera.
Oh, and Blaney on the bottom. Steve Kinser picks up the nose of the car, scoots out in front of Blaney.
Blaney trying to get into the middle of it. Oh! Kinser
does a wheelie and chops Dave off.
Who needs football? Look at this.
You're right. Now, Kinser on the top.
These guys have got their elbows up in racing.
I mean, Hillenberg's going to win this thing, but we're going to stay with this championship battle. Oh! Jeff Swindell had to correct it to save it, and he lost that spot to Kinser. Now Blaney is going to try Jeff on the outside.
Jeff knows he's got to keep Blaney out there. He cannot let Blaney get by him. If Blaney gets in the middle, it's just going to make things twice as tough.
Meanwhile, Kinser is up looking for a little insurance in the form of Rocky Hodges, the third-place car. Leader Hillenberg is in lots of traffic. Danny Lasowski in second. Rocky Hodges is third. Steve Kinser is fourth. Fifth is Jeff Swindell. Sixth is Dave Blaney, and Mark Kinser, who may have the fastest car on the racetrack, is up to seventh. Here's your leader, Hillenberg.
You're right. There's Mark closing right in on Blaney and Jeff. He is fast.
And Steve Kinser has taken a spot from Rocky Hodges. He's up to third and has a little insurance. Here's Mark Kinser. And he's moving up on Jeff Swindell, and he's got Dave Blaney right there.
Oh, 3 wide again.
Mark Kinser smokes it off 4.
What a nice camera angle to see that. Do not try this at home. Do not try this yourself, even with a rental car.
Kinser and Blaney stuff it into turn 3, as tight as it'll go.
There you can see Dave's car push a little bit. What I mean by that, you can see the wheels turn to the left, and he was driving toward the wall coming out of turn 4.
Jeff Swindell holding off Blaney. Mark Kinser and Freddie Raymer behind him. Those are the 3 cars. Blaney, 52, Mark Kinser, and 21, the butt car of Raymer. Hillenberg works Sparky Howard, one of the lap cars, or about to be lap cars, that is.
I'll bet he didn't think he'd be in this position when he was laying upside down out there on the racetrack.
Yeah. 2 hours ago, that thing was upside down to the backstretch.
Steve Kinser drawing a lead on number 47, Danny Lasowski, the second-place car.
Lasowski was second last week in the feature event here.
Jeff Swindell just squeezed Blaney down the racetrack, trying to hold him off. And they move up on Gary Lee Maier. There's that Swindell-Blaney battle.
Those guys are still swapping it back and forth.
Blaney does not give up.
Oh.
And then again, neither does Jeff Swindell, and we've got a lap car right in front.
Maier gets out of the way. Ryan Jamison up top. Hard to believe they could both dump into turn number 1 and nothing happened.
A lot of faith in each other. They've done this so long. They know how the other cars are sticking, where they're sliding out a little bit. and they drove in there together and no contact.
Gary Lee Maier has just left for the pits. Brent Antill's going for the pits. And Jeff Swindell is going for Steve Kinser.
And there's Mark Kinser in 52. He's up alongside Blaney again. Mark Kinser moving to the front. He is up to 6th place.
All the way from the back.
Steve Kinser going for 2nd. He is not going to stroke into this one.
Steve Kinser doesn't stroke into anything.
Right.
He is on the gas hard, as if he never won a championship.
Lapping Terry McCarl. 2nd place now behind Hillenberg. Moves Danny Lasowski to 3rd. Rocky Hodges is 4th. Jeff Swindell is 5th. Dave Blaney 6th. Mark Kinser 7th. Freddie Raymer 8th. Joe Gertie is the 9th place car, and Stevie Smith unofficially 10th.
I think when Jeff passed Steve on the outside, Steve realized that there was some rubber out there, and he moved out, found that spot, and he's going forward.
Well, I bet Owen Snyder's been doing a good job of telling him where to run as well. Look at this. Steve picks up the nose of that car again. Changed it very little since this series began, despite the fact that he picks the front end completely off the racetrack at almost every straightaway. Here's
5 laps to go. Coming up on Brent Kaeding is Andy Hillenberg. The Beef Packers car just ahead of that STP machine.
Kaeding not getting a good bite with that right rear, smoking it hard coming out of the corner.
And giving Hillenberg a hard time. Here's Mark Kinser again. He's up under Jeff Swindell this time. Dave Blaney got past Jeff Swindell. Freddie Raymer, Mark Kinser, all part of this battle. And the lap car, number 90 of Shane Carson, takes away some of the bottom.
Swindell is now 5th with 2 to go. Jeff Swindell 5th with 2 to go.
You know, we've talked about the radios before. The crew guys are telling, like Andy was leading the race, telling him that he's okay, just to be careful and finish this thing off.
White flag waving.
Raymer just got Mark Kinser. So it will be Andy Hillenberg, the Oklahoma driver who comes to the checkered flag. Hillenberg wins it. Steve Kinser is 2nd, and the champion, Danny Lasowski, is 3rd. 4th is Rocky Hodges. 5th is Dave Blaney. 6th to Jeff Swindell. 7th to Mark Kinser. Unofficially, Joe Gertie is 8th. Stevie Smith is 9th. Keith KAUFFMAN unofficially would be the 10th place car, and drop Steve Kett in there next in line. Snap-on Tools, mechanic of the race. We talked a little earlier. Gary Lee Maier's team. Boy, they've been through it all this week, this series, haven't they, Dick?
They have. The car was upside down 4 times. They were on fire once. Gary Lee's dad, Lee Maier, has brought it back here every other time. He gets the toolbox. He's the mechanic of the series, as far as I'm concerned.
And there's what he'll receive, a new box from Snap-on Tools for Lee Maier and Don Conley on Gary Lee Maier's car. We'll be back to talk to the winner and the champ quickly right after this. You're watching Sprint Car Racing live on the Nashville Network.
Welcome back to Canyon Raceway. The Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series has come to a close, and the final winner of round number 10 is Andy Hillenberg. Boy, bent frame, beat-up race car, and you come out the winner. How tough was it in that car?
I'll tell you what, the car was really working great. J&J makes a wonderful race car, and we got it welded back together. And I'll tell you what, it took a hard hit there in hot laps, and our tires just worked tonight. You know, it laid down rubber, and the McCrary tires were awesome. We had the horsepower to go with it, so everything just kind of went our way tonight.
Big win for Andy Hillenberg, but the guy who takes home the championship trophy is this man, Steve Kinser. Another championship for you. Tell me about the battle with Swindell. You guys were banging some wheels in there.
Well, I was running the bottom, and Jeff come up and got by me. I didn't have no choice but go to the middle. And once I got to the middle, I got fast. And actually, I think another lap, I'd have drove by Andy. He was out of tire, though, but I got real fast in the middle and back to about 5th and come back up to 2nd. Really got going good. I wish I'd have been up there the whole race, so I guess I just run in the wrong spot.
Well, congratulations, champ. You got one more trophy for the mantle.
By an unofficial 20 points, Steve Kinser is the series champion over Jeff Swindell. A look at the finish. Andy Hillenberg, Steve Kinser, Danny Lasowski, Rocky Hodges, Dave Blaney, and Jeff Swindell, your first half dozen across the line. They were followed by, in 7th place, Mark Kinser, 8th, Joe Gertie, 9th, Stevie Smith. Very happy, Andy Hillenberg. There's your number once again for that Speedway Motors catalog. Well, they saved the best race for last, didn't they?
That was a good race. I'll tell you, I hate to see this series end.
Well, it will, and we'll have to have another look at it next winter, we hope. Dick Bergman?
I'm looking forward to next winter.
I am, too. For all of us at Patterson International and the Nashville Network, We've had a great time bringing you the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series for 1993-94. If you like this kind of racing action, check out the World of Outlaws schedule when it comes to your hometown. And if you'd like to see it again next winter right here, drop us a line. Write to Viewer Services, the Nashville Network, Opryland Drive, Nashville, Tennessee. Our thanks to everyone who participated and made this series a big success, especially the race fans. It's been our pleasure to bring it to you at home, our viewing audience. You've been watching Sprint Car Racing Live on the only television network to bring you live auto racing from America all year round. The network that brings you more NASCAR, Winston Cup, and Busch racing combined than anybody else, the Nashville Network. For Ralph Sheheen, Brad Doty, and Dick Berger, and I'm Mike Joy. So long, everybody.